You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, Birmingham, Alabama.
Hello, welcome to Paranormal Universe, where all paranormal perspectives apply. Join Paranormal Historian and ufologist Kevin Malik and psychic demonologist Jennifer Malik as they navigate us through the different categories of the unknown and the unexplained, including ghosts and haunted places, cryptids and monsters, aliens and UFOs, theology and mythology, metaphysics, forbidden archaeology, urban legends and folklore, conspiracies, crimes, and corruption, with top analysis from the experts of these disciplines. If it's amazing, unusual, or mysterious, if it's bizarre, creepy, and fantastic, if it's unbelievable, paranormal, or supernatural, it's here on Paraversal Universe. Here are your hosts, Kevin and Jennifer.
Hello everyone. Whether it's morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are, welcome to Paraversal Universe, brought to you by the Northern Wisconsin Paranormal Society Limited and the Northwoods Paranormal Resource Center here in Rhinelander, Wisconsin. We're your hosts, Kevin and Jennifer Malik.
Hey, everybody.
We're coming to you live from our new home at WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. We're also heard on our affiliate networks, WCET-FM, Columbia, South Carolina, and the Rift Radio Network out of Lakeside, Virginia. Welcome to you all. And hello to everyone in the chat room. We look forward to your questions and comments as always. We're so excited to be back with you all for another year of broadcasting. This is fantastic. We're officially in our 5th season, and we have a larger reach than ever. And we have a new producer, Kat Hobson, the voice for Fate Magazine Radio at WBHM, who we're good friends with, and thus super excited to be working with her as we go back several years in radio. And we'll be bringing new guests to the show, as well as guests from years past who we haven't had on for years, people we want to catch up with. And of course, we'll be bringing you new episodes of the Paralogian Report, at least once a month, news and analysis from the fringe recesses of the world, discussing the unknown and unexplained with Jennifer and myself, and fellow correspondents Jean Breida, Don Young, and Thomas McGuire. It's a very diverse and experienced panel whose analysis is well-rounded with informative perspectives. We love doing it, and it's very well received, so expect more of that as well. The archive for the show will be available also. Show archives from over the years can be found in various places on the web, including our archives-like page on Facebook called Paraversal Universe Show Archives, as well as our other upcoming promo page, Paraversal Universe Radio. So feel free to check them out. All right. We have an amazing season premiere interview lined up today with paranormal historian and author Jeff Belanger. But before we burst into that, as always, let's do our share banning shout-outs. Shout-outs go to those people who share our show banners this week. We appreciate it greatly and thank you kindly. So who do we have?
We have Paula Fenn, Katrina Cooper, Dennis Koch, Jason Bland, Jamie Demlos, JJ Paranormal, Walter Brooks, Dots of Christos, Howie Odell, The Rift, Kate Hobson, WBHM, Seraphine Hurley, Denise Pridemore, Elaine Dawes, Lawrence DeMisa, Jean Broida, Scott Mardis, Lake Champlain Mystery Animals, Lisa Reinaga, Sudan, and Lori Kreslaw.
And shout out to everybody in chat. It's good to see you guys there, the new faces and the regulars. Alrighty. Our guest for this broadcast, Jeff Belanger, is a respected member of the paranormal community. We met Jeff in Chicago at the last Chicago Ghost Conference we attended, and again more recently at the Paracon in the Northwoods in Boulder, Wisconsin, just a couple hours from here in Roylander, where we were both guest speakers at. He has an impressive bio, so let me grab that here. Jeff Belanger is an author, adventurer, and one of the most visible paranormal researchers today. He's an Emmy-nominated host, writer, and producer for the New England Legends series, which debuted on PBS in October of 2013, and the weekly New England Legends podcast. Since 1997, the journalist has interviewed thousands of eyewitnesses to paranormal occurrences. He's an ultimate insider and knows how to connect with people from all walks of life when it comes to the unexplained. Jeff is author of over a dozen books on the paranormal, published in 6 languages, including the bestsellers The World's Most Haunted Places, Weird Massachusetts, and Who's Haunting the White House. He's founder of GhostVillage.com, the web's most popular paranormal destination, according to Google, and a noted speaker and media personality. So, he's a host of the cable web talk show 30 Odd Minutes, which is available in over 9 million homes in the United States. Belanger's written for newspapers like the Boston Globe and USA Today, and has served as a writer and researcher on numerous television series, including Ghost Adventures, Paranormal Challenge, and Aftershocks on the Travel Channel. He's been a guest on hundreds of radio and television programs, including The List Is So Long. Holy wow. So, Jeff, are you with us?
I'm with you.
Thank you, and welcome to Paraversal Universe.
Well, thanks for having me, Kevin and Jennifer. It's good to be here.
Well, we always ask our first-time guests to tell us how or why they ended up in their respective fields. In your case, that would be the paranormal and legend tripping, and the branch about which.
Yeah, so it wasn't on purpose. I grew up in an old New England town, and I had friends from a young age who said their houses were haunted, and so we would go looking for those ghosts at sleepovers and things like that. And I grew up in the town next to Ed and Lorraine Warren, so I knew them since I was 10 years old.
Oh, wow.
And I just kind of grew up steeped in this stuff. I went to school to be a writer, and I wrote for newspapers and magazines. And then around October, I just got hooked on ghost stories, writing haunted features. And I loved it. This was the early days of the web. And so I started a website with just some of my articles on the paranormal. And then I said, hey, tell me about your ghost experiences. And that little website of 6 pages grew into eventually 50,000 pages of content. And then I started writing books and working in television. And one day I woke up and I said, oh my God, this is my job now. So that's kind of how it happened. I didn't dream of being a paranormal researcher or writer or author or anything. I dreamt of just finding great stories. And this is the subject that just drew me in.
That's awesome. Whenever we do an interview, we research our guests pretty diligently. And one thing that struck me was the number of books you have. It was more than I realized. It said 14, but then it looked like there was even more than that. And I know you have like calendars and stuff too.
Yeah.
And we'll have plenty of time to discuss the books. That's something that we want to get into a little bit. And you have a couple shows, which are definitely worth watching. Where would you like to start, books or the shows?
You decide. It's up to you. I know about me, so
Good enough.
I mean, you know, I've been there.
Right. Awesome. Okay. Let's start with the podcasts.
Sure.
The first podcast that we seen you on was 30 Odd Minutes.
Yeah. So that was a video show that ran for a few years. We haven't done, it's been, gosh, almost 5 years now since we've done a show. And the idea was, you know, the podcasting and paranormal radio and paranormal internet radio was coming out and getting so big. I'm like, man, I want to do something different, which is pretty much the trend of my whole career. And I said, you know, so much of the paranormal is visual, like seeing stuff, photographs, videos, things like that. And so what happened was we had this cable access station, and I said, you know, nobody watches cable access, which is universally true, by the way. and it's not worth someone's time to go to a cable access station. But suddenly we had YouTube, and we had the means to get this show to not just one cable access station, but hundreds of them. And so just total grassroots, we built a spaceship and we started flying it around the universe and beaming our show to these cable access stations and to YouTube and putting it on Facebook. And suddenly we were reaching quite a few people, and it was really great. And we had guests on via Skype and sometimes in the studio and in our spaceship, and it was super fun. And I miss it. I miss it every day. But the magical components of producers and technology that lined up to make that happen, stars get misaligned over time, and that's what happened. But one day, I always say, like, one day we're going to fly that ship again. So I would never rule it out. It was too much fun.
I was going to ask you about that because it'd been a while since.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we've seen, I think the last one we saw was with like Linda Godfrey.
Oh, God. Yeah, that was like 2014. Which is now like 5 years ago. And it was, like I said, it was great. It was a great run. And I've got so many friends and colleagues I've made over the years. And also, I like the format of 30 minutes. And though we don't take ourselves seriously, we took the subject seriously. And so my thought was, through humor, sometimes we can break down barriers and get people to think about stuff that they may not think about otherwise. And I've always found, and I learned that during my live lectures, which I've been doing since like 2005 now. At first I wore a tie and everything, and I was very formal, and I tried to be all serious. And like our friends in MUFON, they always wear ties and jackets and stuff. It's great. And then I
still stuck with that, by the way.
Yeah,
I'm a MUFON investigator, so
yeah. You have to.
You have to.
They'll rip your card right away. They'll take it away. We can't be in MUFON without a tie. I get it. So that's how I started. But then I'm like, man, this just isn't me. Like, I goof around and stuff, and I don't know. And I started finding that through humor, you could actually break it down and be like, I know it sounds insane to imply that maybe there's like space aliens from another world here, or to imply that humans stick around after we die and haunt us and can affect the environment, or that monsters are walking the earth. If I joke about it, then your guard comes down, and then I can say, yeah, but consider this. And that is a brilliant moment in the life of an audience. You know what I mean? Where the guard's down, they're comfortable, they trust you, they don't think you're going to put on a tinfoil hat and tell them about, Xenon, the space god. And suddenly they receive information that they may not receive otherwise. And that's who I am. That's how I do it. And it's worked for me. That's all I can say. And I'm grateful to people that take it really academically and all that other stuff. But the longer I've been in the paranormal, the more I've come to appreciate and understand the parts of it that I like and the parts I dislike. And the parts I like and always have are the stories, these compelling stories that draw us in, that ring true to us, that sound like something that might possibly be true, and then forces us to ask big questions. I love that. I'm not a huge fan of, like sitting in the dark all night and hoping a meter will beep. Like I've done it plenty. But to me, the most exciting moment is to stand where the legend stood, to understand the history behind it, to understand how we got to here, and to talk to people that have seen and experienced these things, because that is like a really big and profound human connection.
And that can take us into the next show I want to talk about. First, that's really good advice, by the way, for speakers and whatnot.
Be yourself. I know,
yeah,
it's totally groundbreaking, right?
I've seen Brian Keno a couple years ago, and he didn't have a film strip with him, and I was kind of surprised that there were no pictures. And he said, I do better without it.
Yeah.
I do better without it, and I connect with the audience better, and I like what you're saying too about bringing the guard down a little bit, because you'll always have a few skeptics in the audience. Sure. Came with their wife or came with their husband, or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they just won't. And you're right. If you can humor them a little bit and get them to laugh, and that does. I like that.
Yeah. Well, it's also just fits more with my personality. I mean, when you're going to be in front of an audience, or you're going to tell any kind of story, whatever, I just feel like the best you can do is to strip down naked, not literally, but just be like honest, truthful, and fully exposed to your audience. And that's where